Alright, were you banging gears and broke your shift shaft just like me? Well, if so, we can repair it today. I'll give you the part numbers all in the description, what you'll need. You're going to need fluid, the gasket, the shaft, and then if you lost your C-clip in your washer when you broke it, you'll need to order those too. Rocky Mountain ATV is the best place to get all your stuff. Go to their OEM part selection, gives you the schematics, everything, and then you can go through and order whatever parts you need. Now here's your schematic for the shift shaft assembly. That's your part number, price, and then if you need the C-clip and the washer, they've got those for you. Okay, first things first, come through and remove all of your 10mm bolts and your skid plate. Pull that out of the way. You're gonna pull out all these 8mm bolts, and then just note that the ones with the little arrow marking, like that, they all have a copper washer attached to them. So just know where those ones go. Now before I pull this cover off, mine's pretty dirty under here with the skid plate. It's kind of hard to get it washed, so take some brake clean, hose it down. The alternator out of the way, you should be able to slide it back, tip it down, and you kind of just rotate it out of there. It'll be a lot easier if you don't have that DOP bracket for the alternator. Okay, so your next step is going to be removing your pressure plate, whether you have a stock one or whatever you got. Okay, so once you get all your Allen bolts taken out of your pressure plate, you'll pull your pressure plate off. Some of your fibers and stills might stick to it. Just keep them all the same. What I like to do is I'll lay that down, and then as I pull these out of here, I will lay them just flat down. Okay, after your pressure plate's out of the way, you're just gonna pull this. It's a little tight in there. It's got an O-ring, so it's not the easiest to slide out. Just set this here with your pressure plate. Now we're gonna pull the whole basket out. So you're gonna pull this nut off, 30mm socket. The stubby never fails. Okay, so just make sure you pull everything off, knowing what way it goes, because there's an out on this. Same way as you stack your pressure plate, just stack it all. Okay, now you can just slide that whole thing out. Set it aside for the time. Now you pull your basket. Okay, this is the part we're here for. So now you're gonna have to go around to the front, and then the front of this shaft will be right here. So usually you have this piece sticking out the front, and then you got a C-clip and a washer. So you're gonna have to pull that C-clip. Mine snapped right at the C-clip. Pull the shaft through the trans and out the back. Just pull straight out. It just keeps on sliding. It breaks right where that C-clip mounts too. Time to put the new one in. Just come up here, find the hole, slide it on through. It should slide pretty easy. There's a little bit of resistance though, so if you just wiggle it, not in a rush. You want to make sure that you get this set right over that pin. That should slide all the way in. Just like that. So we got the C-clip on there with the washer. Just gonna slide on down in here. Okay, so if you took everything off that shaft and you're down to just that thin washer, you're gonna place this on first towards the front of the car. And then you're gonna place your needle bearings with the shaft inside on next. Next comes up your basket. So then you Put the clutch basket on. You gotta make sure those teeth align. It should slide up in. We're gonna double check our schematic. Okay, and then our next part is this washer. The next part that we gotta put up in be the inner part of the basket. You gotta make sure all these are aligned. Finish this out. We're good there. Okay, we got a washer. We got a second washer that reads out. So we're gonna put that towards the out. Then we got the nut. Okay, so now you need to torque this nut down to 54 foot-pounds. It's kind of hard because I had to put a pry bar here and then put the socket in there with the torque wrench. And then after you're done torquing it, you need to tap down this indent right here. Tap this in. Let's not forget this. That is what your clutch pedal pushes. Now for the packet lockout clutch, you have to set all these balls right in their little groove. Make sure it's nice and polished and clean, ready for your new gasket. That's what we're gonna install next. New gasket on. Okay, so it should slide on this bottom dowel, and then you have another dowel pin up here on the top. Make sure your gasket's all squared up. All your surfaces are clean. Make sure your gasket's still lined up. Set it up on there. Yeah, you get a couple bolts set in. And then you gotta remember your ones with the copper washers should be good on this side unless you have an alternator and you need to put this all back together. Now you should just be able to slide this onto your new shaft. Make sure it goes on all the way. Make sure your set screw goes right through the notch. And then you should be good.